Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. Eventful week, not only the NFL, but in several sports. I'm going to talk about some of them today. Not a good week for Georgia fans, once again, and I just happen to have one in the house. And you can give me some first-hand accounts of how that week felt. I imagine the attitude is not very good down there.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I'm here to speak with you again. Yeah, dude, it's horrible.
Rough patch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, the Braves are out of the World Series. Georgia, the Georgia Bulldogs essentially out of the CFB playoff after that loss to an unranked team that's inexcusable, and the Atlanta Falcons with probably the worst game of the season so far.
Oh, let's not forget.
Seemingly out of the playoff race.
Yeah, let's not forget the Yellow Jackets also lost. And the Hawks lost both of their preseason games.
Well, okay, that's just adding on top, but that doesn't really matter.
Exactly, but it adds to the atmosphere.
Yeah, it does. I get it, but we'll see. So the city definitely looking for some success there, but so far not looking so good in any sport really, but. I got good news for you, man. I'm not an expert on Southern geography, but I think you just drive down the Interstate 20 and you're going to come across a city that's going to make the college football playoff for sure, and they're going to be pretty good every year, if you know what I mean.
Birmingham,
just down the road to Tuscaloosa, isn't it?
Well, yeah, you have to get off I-20, but
all right. Number one.
I was like, yeah, I don't see UAB going to the playoffs this year, buddy. But no. Actually, I see there's an obstacle in their way, and that would be LSU.
And that's a good point, and you're already taking a point away that I was going to bring up later, but we'll talk about that after the first topic, because we're doing NFL predictions first every time. But before that, stat guy, how was last week looking? I somehow have an instinctual feeling I didn't do too well.
Well, you didn't do bad. I mean, you had 8 correct, and we only disagreed on 2 games. And I had 10 correct, both of the games we disagreed on. You tried your best to talk me out of taking the Broncos, and they won 16-0. So
I was on the Titans. I picked up Marcus Mariota to start for me in one fantasy league. On a waiver. And
negative 1.1.
Yeah, negative 1 point. So I lost that league by 5 points.
Oh wow, heartbreaker, man. Yeah,
that was tough.
Texans are in the doghouse right now. I mean, the Titans.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, not Texans. Titans.
Titans, yeah.
Yes,
Titans.
Titans.
That division seemed like after 4 weeks, everyone was 2-2. That division seemed very close, and all of a sudden, what's happened?
Well, now it looks like Texans and the Colts. I was gonna say the Texans are running away with it, but the Colts are.
I mean, they are.
Yeah,
they are.
Yeah, but the Colts still have a chance.
They do. They have a chance for a wildcard spot. AFC isn't that wide in their strengths, but we'll get into that. So let's start off with the predictions for this week.
Yes.
You closing up with 2 points. I still should have an overall lead, I think.
Oh, you do actually. You have 59.5 points to my 55.5. So.
But it's coming down, so I got to extend on that again with hopefully good performance. And I'm feeling confident about my picks, by the way, for week 7 starting off. Thursday night, big trap game, maybe not. Chiefs at Broncos.
Well, trap game. That's kind of funny to say that, the Broncos and the Chiefs. If you would have said that 2 weeks ago, everybody would have laughed you out of a building.
Yeah.
But Chiefs have lost 2 in a row, and the Broncos have won 2 in a row, and this happens to be at home for the Broncos. But I'm no fool, man. I can't take the Broncos in this situation. Flacco, even in that game, both games that they won, they didn't play exceptionally well. They just happened to win. Cortland Sutton looks good though. That's a bright spot of that team right now. He looks really good. But no, I'm taking the Chiefs on the road.
Taking the Chiefs, taking the safe pick, start off.
Yeah.
I think that Broncos defense, 3 weeks in, didn't have a single stat recorded at all, no turnover, no sack, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
and they had like 1 fantasy point overall. And ever since then, they started to play a bit better. They started to actually show that talent that they have on that roster. And I'm not sure if they're smelling a wild card opportunity just yet, but it's going to have to start by beating division rivals. But I'm going to agree with you here. It would be an insane pick to pick the Broncos. Like, a lot of momentum speaks for it, but some of those waves you just don't jump on. It's too much. So the Chiefs have to win this game. It's very clear the Chiefs have to win this game.
Yeah.
They cannot let this division come into question at all, because that would be very inconvenient. And you gotta the Chiefs, you gotta play some defense. I thought for the first couple of weeks, that defense has improved from last year, and if that defense is good, like it improves from last year, they are my number 1 team. Now it looks like it's gotten worse. And, Patrick Mahomes can only do so much. Now Tyreek Hill is back. That is a big thing. But both the Colts and Texans have done a really good job keeping the ball out of his hands. And if you possess the ball for 40 minutes a game, you can run up and down on the Chiefs defense. And Patrick Mahomes gets 3 possessions in the second half. Wow. Against the Texans.
Yeah.
That's not. I don't know. I don't care who's quarterback, and that's not going to happen. So. You got to be more effective on defense. And I think Joe Flacco is a good target dummy to do that against and gain some confidence. The Chiefs are going to win it. Cardinals and the Giants.
Well, both. This is almost the same situation, although a one game sample size. The Cards are trending in the right direction right now. But you could just say that's a symptom of playing the Falcons. Damn it. But gotta go with the Giants in this one. I think the Giants. You know, one thing if Evan Ingram comes back for this game, then he is going to have a massive game here because every tight end that has played the Colts this season has balled out, except for Tyler Eifert. But that's a Bengals situation. So
and Evan Ingram is a receiver playing tight end, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, he is. So definitely got to go with the Giants, especially because they're at home.
See, this is a bit of a personal thing to me, obviously, because of the 2 quarterback situation, and I was open about favoring Daniel Jones over Kyler Murray and all that, and I said the Cardinals were a terrible team. And I knew that the Giants were also going to be a terrible team. I think the Giants' defense is going to be problematic in this one because they're going to have a tough time containing the offense of Arizona. They're more so than the other way around. It's going to be a really close one. It's not going to be a pretty game, but it's going to be a close one. I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I think they're going to.
Oh wow!
I think the Cardinals are going to go on a bit of a streak here, and. I mean, it would be crazy, but they'd be on a 500 record if they win this game. We dubbed them one of the worst teams in the league, and granted they haven't played their divisional games, and they're probably going to take at least 5 losses within the NFC West this year. But I think they can take this. I think they're going to win this game. Although be it close, Daniel Jones is going to have to play really well to make that happen. I don't think he's quite going to do it this weekend.
Oh wow!
Even though I still long term I think he's better than Kyler Murray. I think he's going to make the Giants better over the long run. The Cardinals not so much, but in this game, gotta pick the Cardinals. But it's going to be a field goal game if that at all. It might be very close.
Yeah, I can see that.
Texans and Colts.
Texans and the Chargers.
Colts.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Colts.
Yeah, Colts. Did I write that? No. Once again, I'm mistaking the Texans and the Titans, so I looked at the wrong line. Texans and the Colts. This should be a tough, hard-fought match right here. I'm definitely taking the Texans. But I could see this much like the Cards and the Giants. I mean, this being a divisional matchup, which they have that over the former. This is definitely going to be a hard-fought match. I mean, I see a lot of Marlon Mack in this game. And I see a lot of D-Hop and Will Fuller in this game as well. Deshaun Watson, I don't know if you've heard, but he is an amazing quarterback. Probably one of the best in the NFL.
People have been telling me, but I got a staff for you there. But keep going.
Oh, okay. But yeah, taking the Texans on the road because I think they are just a hair better than the Colts overall as a team.
Right, it's a battle of the two Kansas City Chiefs beaters. In this one, so from that aspect, should be good quality. I think it was exactly. Remind me, but wasn't it exactly 2 weeks on the day in the past that one Smokey Rameriz told me how bad of an offensive line the Texans have, how badly Deshaun Watson is being protected. I think it was exactly 2 weeks ago. I mean, how many sacks has Deshaun Watson taken since you made that statement?
Allow me to rebuttal. That line is much better than it was.
The answer is 0, by the way.
Yes, I know. And it is much better. These past 2 games, they have played 10 times, tenfold what they were playing in the first 3 games of the season. He was getting hit. He was running for his life. And these past 2 games, that offensive line has really stepped it up. Now, if they continue that, then the Texans almost look unstoppable. I mean,
look good.
They beat the Chiefs, for God's sake. So
they did. They look really good. They look like one of the best teams in the AFC.
And the Colts also have a really great offensive line. Now, I do think the Colts offensive line is better than the Texans at this point, but the Texans are definitely going in the right direction with that line.
All right. I mean, okay, I'm going to clarify something as well. Every time you say how great Deshaun Watson is, I'm not disagreeing with you with anything you said, except when you put the name Patrick Mahomes in the same conversation. You can tell me whatever you want about Deshaun Watson. Great, Hall of Fame potential. He's going to win Super Bowls. I'll nod it off. Cool. Don't say the name Patrick Mahomes on the same level. That's the one objection I have. Literally the one statement you can make about Deshaun Watson I'm going to disagree with. But that being said, I'm going to pick the Texans. He's been playing like an MVP.
Yeah.
Not like Mahomes. Mahomes usually does, but that like a very strong elite quarterback. He's been protected well, and he's been making it happen. He's been making it rain on people.
Yes.
Most famously, your Atlanta Falcons, of course. And, he's going to do that to the Colts as well, I think. And they're gonna run away with the division now. If they can keep it up like that, they look unstoppable, like you said. So Texans over the Colts.
I agree.
49ers at the Redskins.
Well, this is not going to be a match at all, is it? I'm predicting, let's say, 38-0 in this one.
Oof, the 0, wow.
The Redskins? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we haven't had 0 yet, but it's a possibility.
The Titans. 16-0.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about the Niners.
Okay, gotcha.
Not just yet.
Yeah, this one maybe. Now, we just watched the Redskins struggle, you could say, against the worst team in the entire NFL. They did.
They lost the tank. Maybe they lost the tank, but I don't know how you look at that.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe that was a loss. Maybe they are actually tanking, and they just couldn't tank as well as the Dolphins.
The way Josh Rosen played, it seems like he wants Tua to be drafted. He wants to go somewhere else next year.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing too. Did not Miami just come out and say, we are starting Josh Rosen for the rest of the season? Well, I guess I can give it to him. They did start him, but they pulled him out.
But they pulled him
at halftime. So
that see if they start him again.
That proclamation lasted 2 quarters.
We'll see. Maybe he's going to start.
Maybe. All right, going with the 49ers right now. They're unstoppable in that division, and the Redskins are garbage.
See, I like to always keep the hype low on the teams that I support because people are going to jump on you like, oh, bandwagon.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you're a homer, you just hyping your own team. And I try to keep it low on that. I've tried to keep it low until last week because, a lot of people had at least a decent point in saying they haven't really played that top tier competition. You played the Browns, the injury prone Steelers.
Yeah.
You've blown out the Bengals and Buccaneers. Congratulations. But that game against the Rams, that was a statement game. That really was a statement game. I've seen them blow up in every power rankings. Most people have them at 2 right now in their power rankings, and I'm not gonna sit here anymore and hold back too much. They've been looking really good. I'm not trying to jinx it here. I'm not gonna say we're going to the Super Bowl this year, but they're looking good. Redskins is a routine win, and they right now statistically are the favorite in the NFC to go to the Super Bowl. I'm not going to go that far, but they've been looking good, and they should easily win this. By the way, I'm not putting a bet I'm not putting a bet on the Redskins even. The first week, I'm not even doing it because I honestly do not believe there's even a chance at all.
No, not at all.
So I'm not doing it. I've lost like 5 cans already this year, so I'm not doing it this time. Raiders and the Packers.
Raiders and Packers. This actually figures to be a tougher match than anyone would have thought at the beginning of the season. Raiders, as I like to say, are trending in the right direction. Packers are still doing just enough to win games. Like they're not setting the world on fire. But they're winning, so that's really. Aaron Rodgers is a genius, and just watching the guy play, and it's almost like he's just looking at these teams and go, okay, I'm just gonna put forth 70% effort, and that will win this game, and he does it.
It's almost like what Brady's been doing for 20 years, and he never had the opportunity to do.
Exactly,
because he had to carry his entire team, right?
Yes, exactly. But
I like these Packers a lot. I think this is the best, not necessarily the most explosive or exciting Packers team we've seen with Aaron Rodgers, but the best, because they have finally adopted the way to win in the NFL. And what's that way? You play defense first, you run the football as long as possible. Who's been doing that? The Patriots. Who's doing that right now better than anyone else? The Niners. Who's undefeated? Those two teams. Bunch of Super Bowls between them, obviously, and the Packers are now doing that same thing. As great as Patrick Mahomes is, the Chiefs are not going to win 5 Super Bowls the way they are going right now. No. They have to improve that defense, and the Packers are doing really well. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to be Jesus Christ every week. He doesn't need to bail him out every week, and he gets to sit back, manage the game, at least in parts, and when they need his miracles, he can still pull out those miracles, but he's getting a little bit more rest there. So I'm going with the Packers. Also, I think the Raiders still, right now, the Raiders are a smokescreen. I do not believe them. I don't think they're going to make a run for that division at all. When it's all said and done, I don't think they're going to be second in the division. I like the Chargers better. I might like the Broncos better. Raiders, to me, massively overhyped, and they are going to drop off. My bold prediction after week 7. Vikings and the Lions. Yeah.
Vikings, man, I talk about a heartbreaker. This Lions team is good. I can't say they're excellent. They're not great, but they're good, and I can almost say really good. Matt Stafford, besides the fact that everyone was slipping and sliding around the field, and apparently everything was greased up last night before the game, and no one could hang on to a ball, but the Lions should have won that game. And now you can chalk that up to Rodgers just being as good as he is and doing just enough to win.
Yeah. I mean, those two blown calls, that was terrible. I don't know who hired Stevie Wonder to referee NFL games. I don't know. That was terrible. I just watched the highlights. I didn't watch the game live because for me it was like 3 a.m. right? Oh yeah. Got up in the morning, checked out the highlight video on YouTube. I saw like 500 dislikes on the video. I was like, what happened? And now I know what happened. Trey Flowers in his career has never had a single hands to the face penalty, and he gets 2 in 1 quarter.
Yes,
in one game. Insane.
And he wasn't even touching the face mask.
Wasn't even touching the face. I don't know what that guy was looking at. You realize that there is a ref in football whose single job it is to look at tackle and end. There's so many refs on a football field, each one for a single specific area. You got one for the interior line, you got one for the outside of the line, you got one just looking at tackles and ends. And how do you miss that twice? I mean, I don't get it. Lucky win. But what was your prediction anyway?
Well, it comes down to both of these teams are looking really good at the moment. Vikings on a 2-game win streak where they almost dominated. The Lions are much, much better than their record would suggest right now. So I'm going with the Lions at home.
Stealing my upset pick. I was gonna bring the exact same thing. Vikings with the better record. Lions are actually the better team. The Vikings, to me, they're too volatile to me. You can't. You can't go blow out Atlanta and blow out Philadelphia and then just lose terrible games and not pass for 100 yards. It's sort of like the Browns. Like, I feel like the Vikings honestly are sort of like the Browns, but they've gotten luck on their side a lot more so far in those crucial games. That's sort of how I look at it. So yeah, Lions to me are a better team, and it's an important game for the Lions.
It is.
Because the Vikings have won two more games than you. So, okay, you guys still have the bye week, obviously, but you got to win this to stay in contention. I think the Lions, going to be a tough week for them to rebound from that. Honestly, that snub. I mean, that was a terrible way to lose a game. But they're going to have to do it. It's their only choice. And they have the quality on the team to make it happen, too. So, going to pick the Lions there. I thought I was going to be clever there, but you also had the same pick.
Yeah.
Jaguars and Bengals.
Jags and Bengals. The Bengals are barely a step above Miami right now. And, if they keep this up, they may figure out some way to get to it, and your prediction could still come true.
They might. And I'm going to be eating the pizza if they do, yeah.
Yeah. Even though this is in Cincinnati, I am predicting the return of Minshew magic for this game. I think Minshew gets back going, and he's going to dominate the Bengals in this game. Look for a lot of DJ Chark.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I mean, I'm not going to pick the Bengals. I'm not going to pick for the Bengals, obviously.
You can't.
Gardner Minshew, Jaguars, their record's looking a little bit worse than there. I think there should be a classic 500 team, honestly. They're 2-4 right now. Would you believe that the rookie of the week in weeks 1 through 5, four times the rookie of the week was Gardner Minshew, and they're 2-4. And pop quiz, by the way, who was the one other guy who won it?
DJ Chark.
Nope. Chase Winovich, Patriots defense.
Oh wow! I would have never guessed that one.
Gardner Minshew, week 1, 3, 4, and 5, rookie of the week. 2 and 4 doesn't really. I don't really get how that goes together. But speaking of going together, he's going to get it together this weekend, and I mean, this is going to be a highly motivational win because they're going to blow the Bengals out, and a lot of people are going to use the Bengals this year to gain some motivation. And the Jaguars are next in line. They're gonna get this win, and it should be easy. Dolphins and the Bills.
Well, before we move on, I just want to point out that I think this is actually DJ Chark's second season. He was just pretty much irrelevant last season. Or am I correct? He did play last season, right?
It might be. I don't have the stats right now, but he. If it's his second season, then he was very irrelevant last season. Yes. I did not hear of him. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. All right, so we're on the Bills and the Dolphins, right? Yes. Not much to say about this. Tanking continues. They're gonna try everything they can to not win. And the Bills look good.
Josh Rosen.
Yeah, exactly. I think they named Josh Rosen just because they figured that gave them more of a chance to tank than Fitzpatrick, because Fitzpatrick may just mess around and go out and win a game or two here and there.
He always has those screw ups where he accidentally goes out and blows someone out, puts 44 on him. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Don't want to risk that, obviously, But man, you gotta feel so sick for Josh Rosen, man. I've never seen anyone be, in back-to-back horrible situations like that in the NFL. Like, I know he has the ability, but it's gonna be so tough to rebound from this. I mean, it's crazy.
So tell me,
gotta agree with you. Bills are gonna win it.
Give me a prediction. Where does he play next season?
Josh Rosen?
Yes.
See, I really hope he's gonna find. Listen, I don't want him to be great any longer, but why not like the Patriots, Saints, some place that wins, that uses a quarterback like him. Some competent organization, Denver. I don't know, but not teams like the Dolphins. I don't want them to go to the next worst team again. Carolina, I don't care, anywhere. Tampa Bay, just not the Dolphins right now. Not a team who was trying to tank that year.
Yeah. What if he ends up on the Titans? They get rid of Mariota.
Anywhere, any team that's looking to win, go there. He can do it with the right coach. I like the Titans coaching. I like the capability that they have. It's just got to get done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna agree though. Bills are looking at the playoffs and they're gonna have to beat the Dolphins. Routine win. They're gonna do that.
Yes.
Rams and the Falcons.
I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. I really are the Rams tanking also? Why are they trading away Marcus Peters?
Yeah. I don't know. Are they? I mean, you're 3-3. You can't really be. You went to the Super Bowl. You can't really be thinking about tanking after 6 weeks.
Yeah, but it does tend to bring up the question if you're going to trade away one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Why when Gurley was healthy were they not using him? I mean, I understand that he has 4 touchdowns on the season, but he may have actually had more than 4. I know he had 2 in 2 separate games, but they were using him a very small margin of what they would have used him last season, and he definitely was one of the best running backs in the league. So the whole thing, man, Sean McVay is the guy that everyone has looked to as the greatest new innovative coach in the world. And this guy is going to take every team he coaches at least to the Super Bowl. And right now the Rams are approaching dumpster fire stage. But with that being said, Falcons have the worst defense that I've ever seen in an NFL season. You could argue the Dolphins maybe, but I think the Falcons are worse. I really do. I think the Falcons' defense is worse than the Dolphins. Great offense. If we just had a smidgen of defense, we'd be winning games right now. But we're not because we suck. I'm going with the Rams.
Sounds a bit like the Chiefs, right? What you just described right there.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Chiefs' defense might still be better than this, though.
Yeah, I think so.
See, this is the game where the Falcons can gladly win, and I'd be happy if they did do so. And if you told me the Rams are 3-3 before the season, Rams are 3-3, they're going to Atlanta, I would have picked the Falcons preemptively. But knowing the way the Falcons have played, I think this is going to be a bounce back game for Jared Goff. Now he passed for 78 yards last week. You can't do that in the NFL.
At least 378 in this game.
Because you played the best defense, now you play the worst, arguably. So
yes,
I think so. I think they're gonna have to win it. The Rams are, because they got their backs against the wall enough already as it is in that division, because they're in the strongest division in the league, arguably. And 3-3 is not gonna cut it anywhere close. Lost to Seattle, lost to San Francisco. It's getting tough. So I'm gonna also pick the Rams. This is a must win. And at 1-5, 1-6, the Falcons are out of it. I think we do agree on that. So yeah, tough season for both those teams so far. But the Rams still are going to keep. They're just going to keep in it for a bit longer. Chargers and the Titans. Now there's your game.
Well, both of these teams are looking horrible right now. One team looks worse than the other. I will say that. Mariota may not even start this game. Actually,
he might not.
I think
they pulled him out. He might be done.
Yeah, I think Ryan Tannehill would actually give them a better chance to win than Mariota right now. Tannehill is not a horrible quarterback. They could do a lot worse for a backup. So they may.
You're seeing what Miami's doing without him now.
Exactly. So they may run with Tannehill in this one. And if Tannehill's the quarterback, I say this is going to be a much closer game. But right now, if they're going to put Mariota in, I'm going with the Chargers on the road.
All right. I don't know. I don't really know what to expect and who to expect to start at quarterback. But I know that no matter who starts at quarterback, they're not going to be anywhere near Phillip Rivers. And Phillip Rivers is the type of guy who I'm expecting to go on the road and win these games. I haven't given up on the Chargers, not to win the division, but to at least contend for an AFC wildcard spot. They're, to me, the second best team in the division still. I'm not going to touch the Chiefs, but I think the Raiders are overrated. I think the Chargers right now are better than their record. Not that they're good, they're 500, the way they're playing, their quality of play, but they can improve. They have the centerpiece there, which is a top 10 elite quarterback. So, Chargers to win it in a very important one, by the way, because if they're 2-5, they're gonna have tough sledding. But they talk about falling from grace, like we've talked about the Falcons and Rams, but the Chargers also a strong team from last season, kind of disappearing into nothingness. So important game, and they're gonna have to win it. Ravens and Seahawks.
Wow, this is a tough one here.
This is a tough one.
This may be Okay, there's a close contender coming up, but this may be the toughest. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is the toughest to pick right here. Ravens looked really well. Lamar Jackson played really good this week. Seahawks, Russell Wilson, he's putting his name right up there with Mahomes and Rodgers.
Russell is playing good.
Yes, probably this may be one of his career seasons. You know, he's out there like the Terminator. He just keeps coming, and no matter what the team around him is doing, he is just determined to
and remember,
win
we expected
games.
Seattle to fall off a cliff.
Yes.
After the end of the Legion boom, when Richard Sherman left or Thomas left, Cam Chancellor, we expected them to fall down, and we expected them to be victimized by the Rams and Niners and just disappear.
Yes.
But they are still fighting for that division, which to me is crazy. It shows how much Russell Wilson can actually do by himself.
Mm-hmm. With that being said, though, I'm going with the Seahawks at home, probably because this is such a close game that the home field advantage is probably going to be the difference maker in this.
Have we agreed on every game so far? Am I mistaken?
No, you picked the Cards and I picked the Giants.
Right, that's the one. But it's gonna continue. I'm also picking the Seahawks in. Maybe not so close as you might think. It's home field, and home field means a lot. And I think it's gonna just be a matter of the quarterbacks. Not that Lamar Jackson isn't good, but Russell Wilson in Seattle is just hell to beat, and I think he's going to profit from the experience that he has in that place as opposed to Lamar. And very high coaching quality on both sides. I think Seattle's going to get it done and move to 6-1, which is going to make for a very competitive division. And the Ravens still are, I believe, still the best team in the division. They're going to win the division, but not this one. Saints and the Bears.
Well, this is two really good defenses about to go at it. The difference maker is going to be the offenses in these two, and the Bears' offense is not doing much of anything. They are coming off a bye, which is going to help them be rested and ready to go, and they are at home. But at this point, you can't really bet against the Saints. I know that this past week was not an exciting barn burner of a game, but they did enough to get the victory. And the Bears, Mitchell Trubisky does not look like a first-round pick that he was. And
picked before Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes in that year.
Yes. And Teddy Bridgewater actually has experience against the Bears. A lot of people forget.
Viking.
Yes, exactly. So I am actually taking the Saints to win on the road here.
You said that last sentence as if that were like an upset, like a surprise. I'm actually taking the Saints.
Well,
really, unbelievable. Yeah, I'm also taking the Saints. I think people wrote them off, said they're gonna fall off sort of after that Drew Brees injury. Maybe not realizing how similar of a quarterback Bridgewater actually is to Drew Brees. Just he's from a different generation, pretty much different background, but they are similar quarterbacks, and he's been managing well. The Saints have a much improved defense. Remember, not any more than 2 years ago, we thought of the Saints' crux being their defense, and they couldn't make it all the way because of the defense. Remember the Minneapolis Miracle, among other plays. So Saints are looking good. They are, with Drew Brees back, you don't want to hear this, they might be the best team in the NFC. Even they might have a good shot. So they should win this game. Chicago is I don't really know where they are. People had them very high at the beginning of the season because of their defense, but it's a lot of their success and their sort of pendulum between mediocrity and actually being in the elite of teams is going to depend on quarterback development. And so far, the quarterback hasn't developed to the point where I'm seeing them make that jump. I'm taking the Saints at Chicago to win this. This one, probably America's game or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Huge importance. And everyone's going to be watching this one. The Eagles and Cowboys.
You know, this is the second closest game that I've seen on this slate. And I think these teams are so evenly matched right now. And their records actually reflect that. Man, I think this game comes down to wide receivers and if Amari Cooper is healthy and ready to play in this game, because we know that you can't run on the Eagles defensive line. Nobody does it. But every team that has played the Eagles has lit them up with their X and Y receivers downfield. And Amari Cooper is a burner. He's a specialist in that area. And Dak Prescott loves to hit him. On the other hand, there's a decent defense that the Cowboys have put out, but they have been getting torched in the first half of games. And they've left it up to Dak to force a comeback at the end of the game. In most of their games this season, as a matter of fact. But these two teams being so even, right now I'm going with the Cowboys because they're at home.
You're going with the Cowboys because they're playing at Jerry's Paradise, really. That's the factor. Wow. Interesting. So I think a lot of what you said is very, very true. Defenses, I got them about even.
Mm-hmm.
Offenses, very close. Amari Cooper is one of the difference makers. Ezekiel Elliott, like you said. The Eagles are good at stopping the run. The Cowboys are good at running the ball. So that's going to be a key factor of the game. Very even. Doug Peterson already guaranteed a win, by the way.
Oh wow!
And,
I didn't see that.
I'm always trying to like emotionally distance myself from these picks because I'm trying to pick with my head, obviously, because I want to win as many as possible.
Yeah.
And I thought about this for a while, but still picking with my head, no favoritism. I'm gonna pick the better quarterback. I don't care we're in Dallas. I'm gonna pick Carson Wentz. He's the best quarterback in that division. He is better than Dak Prescott. I don't care about what people are going to be paid. I don't care about what symbol they got on their helmet. Dak Prescott is a mediocre quarterback in the NFL. Everyone come at me. I don't care. I've said it. I'm going to keep saying that. Carson Wentz is elite. Carson Wentz is the better player. And he's going to get it done. He's going to have to find a way to get it done. If he doesn't, it's going to be close. He's going to have to find a way to get it done in the second game in Philadelphia for sure.
I don't disagree with that. The Carson Wentz is a much better quarterback than Dak Prescott.
He is, and since the teams are so evenly matched in all other aspects, I'm picking the most important, most impactful position.
Mm-hmm.
So going with Carson Wentz, putting my fate in Prince William here. Is it William, the guy with? I think that's the guy who looks like him, right?
Yeah,
I don't know
exactly.
And finally, last game, Patriots and Jets divisional stunt.
Wow, the Jets looked good last week, huh? Speaking of the Cowboys, they came out and besides the fourth quarter comeback, which the Cowboys have been doing in the past few games, the Jets dominated that game. They look really good.
Darnold, please. I think I've been saying it for a while, but yes, I'll take Sam Darnold.
I picked up Sam Darnold in a fantasy league because I knew that he was going to be great when he came back.
I'm gonna proceed to call you a bandwagoner for the rest of your life, by the way. And in fact, I'm gonna do that to everyone who didn't believe in him day one.
Well, I still think there are better quarterbacks in that draft than Sam Darnold, but Sam Darnold looks
preposterous. Baker? Josh Rosen?
No, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson.
Josh Allen? The Jets are playing the Bills. This is happening again.
I had Sam Darnold number 3 coming out of that draft. And Baker was number 4, and I had Josh Rosen last. But I believe in Josh Allen. I believe in Lamar Jackson. Not that he's ever going to be this great downfield passer or anything, but he's going to win a lot of games.
I do too, just not to the same degree. You know, it's kind of like believing in Deshaun Watson, but believing in Patrick Mahomes. Not that those are on the same level right now, but you know, the analogy stands.
Yeah, but with all that being said, I do believe in your boy Sam Darnold. He's a great quarterback, and he's going to be... I bet his long...
Do you believe in him against Bill?
No, I don't. But I will say I believe Sam Darnold is going to have a much longer career than probably every other quarterback in that draft. But with that being said, no, the Jets do not get over on the Patriots. It doesn't happen. I don't know how long it's been since it happened, but I may have been a kid back then. It's not going to happen, man. The Pats on the road.
Didn't Mark Sanchez do it like 5-6 years ago or something?
It would have been over 5 or 6 years because that would have been McCown's team at that time, right?
When the Jets go to the AFC Championship game, they
no. McCown was at the Browns at that time.
They did pretty well with people only remember Mark Sanchez for fumbling for the butt fumble, but he was one of the best quality wise Jets quarterbacks for a couple seasons at least.
Yeah, he did have a good couple season runs.
Playoff runs.
Yeah,
wasn't terrible. Before I talk myself out of it, I'm picking the Patriots, and that's the head pick, and now I can't make the mistake of switching there because of the heart. But man, how great would this be? All right, how awesome would it be
if he did it?
Darnold, if he did it, Cowboys and then Patriots back-to-back games.
Oh yeah, if he did it, man, then he skyrockets to the upper class as far as quarterback tier rankings and power rankings for this season.
I don't think. I mean, I generally I don't believe it. Realistically speaking, because no one does it. No one would do it right now. I'm not sure if Patrick Mahomes would do it right now. Honestly, with the support he's been getting from his defense, that Patriots defense special team, it's just dominant. It's too dominant to be beaten at this point. Honestly, it could be a fairly low scoring game though.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Though there's always, with those games, there's always the possibility of it just getting out of hand. You know, Darnold throws a pick or two. He's confused because of that defense is so strong, and he doesn't really have the experience to deal with that well. And they just kind of go down, and then Patriots score like 14 unanswered, and it's pretty much over.
Yes.
And at that point, nothing much happens. We've seen it a lot when those games are just over at halftime. Those divisional games with the Patriots. So we hope that doesn't happen. Hope it's going to be close. And if he plays the way he did, he'll have a shot. But this defense is different. It's different than anything he has ever seen. Everything I've ever seen. Anything we've ever seen. Even after 20 years of Belichick, this is a new level. So Patriots are taking it. Not much effort needed, I think, on offense specifically. But that stretch will come. When the Patriots, the proving time for the Patriots is going to come. They have the games against Kansas City. I think they play Dallas and Philadelphia. So at some point they're going to have to start playing offense. But that time just might not be this week. So I'm going to go with the Patriots also. We have a bye week: the Steelers, Browns, Panthers, and Buccaneers. Panthers and Bucs obviously coming back from London from an entertaining game where Jameis Winston was busy in the kitchen making those turnovers, 5 of them. He had like 400 yards or 400 or 500 yards passing and 5 interceptions. I don't know how that even goes together, but that was a rough game. That was a rough game to watch.
It was. And if anybody can pull that off, it's Jameis Winston.
It's how the guy Baker Mayfield can do it too. He's good at that stuff too.
Yeah, but Jameis one of the few guys that can have 5 turnovers and still win you a week in fantasy football because the guy will just throw bomb after bomb after bomb. Chris Godwin's down
do it. I think Big Ben is also notorious for doing that.
Yeah, he's had a lot of those in his career. That's for sure. Yeah,
but Jameis is the best at it.
Mm-hmm.
So I already mentioned that the Patriots and the AFC East is, I think, playing the NFC East. And NFC East, while not being necessarily the strongest division, is one of the most exciting because of the rivalry game that's going to be an important crossroad this week. We talked about the Eagles and the Cowboys, and you picked the Cowboys. I picked the Eagles.
Yes.
So your reasoning, because their teams are equal, was home field advantage. You think you're gonna take the Eagles to in turn win it back at Philly? And if so, then who do you have as an outlook for the future for the playoffs, or who's gonna win that division?
That's tough, man. The division is wide open right now, as I see it. Yes, and in Philly, I would definitely be taking the Eagles to win that game. It's definitely going to be one of these two, right?
It's not going to be Washington. It's not going to be the Giants.
Yeah, unless the Giants.
I wouldn't mind if the Giants took one over the Cowboys, just a cheap one, but I don't. They're not going to contend, no.
2015, I think, was the last time they won that division. That would have been and then next year Dak came in and won the division at 13-3 or whatever it was. But
it was the rookie season, right, for Elliott and
Dak. Yeah, he took over for Romo and but man, it's really tough. I want to say the Eagles are going to win that division. I mean, not that they're necessarily playing better than the Cowboys. I think they're even. I really do. I think they're playing dead even with the Cowboys right now. That's what makes picking those games so tough. And home field advantage is the only thing that leans it either way for me.
Yeah.
But
here's the thing, and here's why I would pick. I'm also going to pick the Eagles, and here's why I'm optimistic about this. It's because they are very even right now. At this point, they're very even. But I think the Eagles have been underachieving this season so far at 3-3. I think the Cowboys have been playing exactly at the strength that they actually are at. I think they're a more limited team, which boils down to the quarterback position and which boils down to coaching quality. And,
you really don't like Dak, huh?
Personally, just for a second, personally, I do not like Dak. I don't like anything about him, but disregard all of that because I'm trying to be objective. He's not an elite quarterback. He's just not. He's not Carson Wentz. I don't know. I mean, people like to make you believe that he is. He is not. The Cowboys, to be successful, need to run the football first, and they have to play defense, and Dak Prescott is not ever going to be a Carson Wentz, Aaron Rodgers type of quarterback. I don't think he is.
I can't say never. He looks to me like one of these guys that he's mediocre, and then he has that one giant season somewhere. And
like Matt Ryan.
Don't start with me. Don't start with me. Matt Ryan.
He's the best player on the Falcons right now. You got to give him that.
By far, yeah. I mean, and Matt Ryan has had great offensive seasons with losing records somehow because
he's in danger of becoming Phillip Rivers now, though, where he's a really good quarterback on just teams that cannot contend. Exactly. At the same time, not being like Aaron Rodgers level to where he can carry them by himself. But he's playing well. That's the one thing. That's the one thing. He definitely is doing well.
Yeah, and speaking of Carson Wentz, the thing that really is holding him back is he really has no superstar weapons at all. Everything's a committee. Doug Peterson runs all, the receiving and the running backs are by committee. I mean, I'm trying to think of if at any time he actually had. I mean, Alshon Jeffries has to be his number one receiver for his entire career, right? And what are you saying with that?
But that's not. I mean, is that an issue? I mean, look at teams like the Niners and even the Patriots now to a degree without Gronk. They're doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, maybe it's not an issue because Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl like that using Foles. Carson Wentz was on it.
He clearly knows what he's doing in terms of scheming on offense. That's why I think the Eagles are underachieving. You got Carson Wentz, You get Carson Wentz in the building, who's better than Nick Foles, and you fundamentally built around defense, and that is the recipe for success. Defense and run, and then on the offense, it's by committee, like you said. That's what's been successful for a long time now. And there's some exceptions to that, but it's the general rule, and a lot of that rule is obviously set by the Patriots. But that's how it's been working.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, Shanahan loves committees. Look what he did in Atlanta. What was it? It was some outstanding number that Matt Ryan had thrown the year that they went to the Super Bowl. He had thrown passes to
like 60
21
different people or something like
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really crazy. But there was touchdown passes thrown to that many players in a season. Even the Patrick DeMarco, the fullback, was catching a touchdown here and there, and Marvin Hall.
Seems to be what works.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, if you look at all the dominant teams, you definitely have that. But
you see with New England, I mean, there's like 2 people every year in who were Patriots receivers you never heard of before. Like, where that guy came from?
Oh,
and all of a sudden he's making plays in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, yeah, and he's probably gonna do that again. I mean, he's probably gonna turn some unknown tight end into a superstar here soon. But yeah, so maybe that's all that Carson Wentz needs. But I feel like if he had that one-on-one guy, his Randy Moss or his Julio Jones, that guy that he just had his connection with, that he could always turn to in a tight situation, if a guy who can make double coverage catches, just a superstar. I mean, you could still run it by committee. I mean, Shanahan worked out quite well using Julio and Mohamed Sanu, and
I think that's more of a luxury bonus to those types of offenses. Like you've seen in Atlanta, you have that Shanahan offense, you have that committee, you have that run dedicated scheme, and it works really well. And then you get the superstar, the number 1 receiver Julio Jones, and you break all the records. And in San Francisco right now, it's the same thing minus the true number 1. And I think a similar thing is what we're seeing in Philadelphia.
I really think that Pettis could be a superstar if he ever gets that kind of usage, which we may be seeing him on an uptick right now.
The tight end, right? I guess Kittle is that guy, sort of, but he doesn't line up on the perimeter that much because he's just too good of a blocker to use him as a Jimmy Graham sort of guy.
Yeah. But we've seen that work with Travis Kelce and Gronk and, quite a few. Zach Ertz, we've seen that. And speaking of Zach Ertz, that may be his number 1 receiver over Alshon Jeffries. But we've also seen Zach Ertz just fade away and be irrelevant in certain stretches of games, not just one game, but we can see 4 games go by and Ertz is doing nothing, and then all of a sudden,
and that's gonna be a fun matchup to watch. By the way, you got those young athletic linebackers there for the Cowboys, Jalen Smith and Van Der Esch, and their matchup on a veteran tight end, superstar tight end like Ertz. So that's gonna be interesting for sure. Let's step down one level and go from the NBA, from the NFL, to college football, where we had a big shakeup last weekend, and unfortunately for you, once again, negatively eventful occurrence there on behalf of Georgia. So the Georgia Bulldogs are losing to an unranked team there in South Carolina. I mean, you couldn't come. Honestly, I thought when it went to overtime and was this close, I thought just taking it that far alone would seriously hinder their playoff ambitions. But losing the game is going to seal the deal. They are down to being the 10th ranked team, down from the top 4 to the 10th ranked team in 1 week, and that's going to be it. That's going to be the playoff contention. They're out.
I don't agree. There's still a path. I mean, it's probably unlikely.
You can't lose to an unranked team and make it. You cannot.
Well, we saw it happen with Clemson 2 years ago when they lost to Syracuse, and still made the national championship game.
I don't believe. No, you can't do it this. I think we know that Clemson and Alabama seem to be locks anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think Clemson's not going to have an issue running the ACC. And Alabama, it means the Alabama Invitational. Of course, Alabama's going to be there, so that's 2 spots taken away.
But if you beat Alabama,
take over Georgia.
If
who beats Alabama?
If Georgia makes it to the SEC championship, which they still, if they play like last week, they're not getting there. I mean, I'm not going to kid anyone and try to overhype a team that's not playing very well. But if they play like last week, they're not going anywhere. But we've seen this happen. We saw them get blown out to Auburn 3 years ago and still make the national championship game. Not only the playoffs, but make it to the national championship game against Alabama nonetheless, because they came back and won the SEC championship. And wasn't
that the game that Tua came out of hiding? I think that was the game, right?
Yes, that was his. That was his coming out party. You know, Jalen Hurts was the starter for that game, and he was blowing it. I mean, Georgia had a 13-0 lead going into halftime, right. And Tua came out and eviscerated the defense of Georgia. And you know what? There's a common factor in most of these games that Georgia loses, and that is a backup quarterback. Doesn't make any sense. Apparently, Kirby Smart doesn't know how to prepare his team for anything that is not the starter. You know, like as soon as you change,
it's hard to do that in college. Some of these guys you won't even find high school film, and they might have never started the game. You can't really prepare.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You know, it's much more parity in the NFL, and it's much easier. But Kirby, he is unprepared in these types of situations. By far, he has a plan A. He has a really great plan A. He's a defensive mastermind. He runs a middle school offense. This dink and dunk. You know, he's not an offensive guy, but he is a very controlling guy, and he does not let the offensive coordinator. And people can say what they want, but he does not let the offensive coordinator control the offense. Kirby is the final say-so in that entire team, and we've had success doing that. But he only has a plan A. And when it's time to bring out plan B, there is no plan B. It's just keep doing what we were doing and hope we outlast them. Sometimes we can't outlast the team. You know, we couldn't outlast LSU last year. We couldn't outlast Auburn a couple years ago, and Ole Miss the year before that. There's just certain teams that come through each year that plan A is not working on, and we blow it. Now, with that being said,
so speaking of LSU, by the way, if we had to pick the 4 teams, I think I've said this: Clemson, Alabama are a lock. I don't think anything's going to change about that, and I'm going to stand strong in the call that Georgia is out of it. They're no longer in my consideration, and they're not going to be in the consideration of the committee when all's said and done. I think honestly, I'm looking at 3 teams for the last 2 spots. I'm looking at 3 teams. I don't, as much as I would like to see like Wisconsin or Michigan, I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm looking at LSU. Yeah,
Wisconsin is playing amazing right now. I would, if I was on the AP poll, I would have Wisconsin in the top 3 at this time.
In the 3, really?
Yes.
Nah, I mean, right now it's got to be Clemson, Alabama, and LSU, right?
Yeah, I think Clemson is not up to par. I would put Ohio State in that 3rd spot over Clemson.
Yeah, see, Ohio State is the second team for the conversation, and then it's Oklahoma because it's Oklahoma and they're entertaining.
Yeah,
to some they're not the best. I don't think like quality wise they're a top 5 team. But Jalen Hurts might just might win the Heisman because that's how
what they
operate.
Do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Heisman doesn't have value necessarily anymore, but a lot of people think it does. After the past 2 years, I can, however, confirm it does not. But if he does win the Heisman, and he keeps lighting people up, and they have the most vanilla cakewalk schedule I've basically ever seen. Mm-hmm. They have a shot. They have a shot at making the playoff. They're not going to win anything important. They're going to get blown out by Alabama. They're going to be blown out by Clemson. Whoever it ends up being, it doesn't really matter. They're going to get blown
just
out.
like every year. I mean, they put them in there for TV ratings because, like you said, they are exciting to watch. You know, they throw a ton of touchdowns.
Baker with his antics, Kyler Murray, he's a fresh new thing. Now it's Jalen Hurts, the former backup, and they want to see him play against Nick Saban, and we know how that's going to end, but they want to see it anyway because it's a lot of make believe, a lot of hype.
Yeah.
So I mean, what do you got to say? Oklahoma might make it. I think LSU is a good shot, and for LSU, it's going to come down to you got that you still have that game against Alabama, and you don't have to win. It depends on it's going to come down to how do you play that game. Do you take it to overtime? Do you keep it within one possession? Do you show that you can go toe to toe with Alabama? Because that's the measuring stick of college football. And that's what they're going to be looking at. If you can play Alabama down to the wire, you can make that an exciting game. Then we can allow that to happen again in the college football playoff. If you're going to get destroyed by Alabama, you have a tough spot. You don't need to win it, but you have to stay in it, and you have a good path to making it happen. And Ohio State is the fourth pick here, and they're sort of a candidate to be the victim of that Oklahoma hype there, if they're going to be the odd one out, which just might happen. But to me personally, quality wise, I want to see Clemson, I want to see Alabama, Ohio State, and LSU. But Oklahoma has a good shot. I don't think anyone else is in the serious conversation right now.
Now, I will argue that if LSU loses to Alabama, the only way they make it in after that is if there are other teams in that top four that have losses as well. If we see an undefeated Oklahoma, an undefeated Alabama, an undefeated Clemson, and an undefeated Ohio State, then LSU doesn't have a chance of making it.
Yeah, maybe not. But it's gonna come down. To me, it's really gonna come down to how you play that game. And if you win it, I think for sure you make it. You beat Alabama, you're gonna make it, and Alabama's gonna make it still, even if they do lose to LSU.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, just judging from the past, you know, they love Alabama. Alabama sells tickets, you know,
because they're that good. They're just, you know, they are the closest thing to a professional team. And I think I looked at the projections, but Clemson is like an 80% favorite to win the ACC right now. So that's basically a lock, and
should be 99.
Should be, yeah. They're gonna make it. Alabama favored to win the SEC, not by that much, but still favored. And how about seeding though? What do you think? What kind of matchups are you gonna see with the four teams that you're gonna go with? What do we think? What we're gonna see?
Well, I guess the only thing I could assume is that Alabama wins against LSU, and that's such a toss-up at this point. But let's say Alabama wins. Alabama's taking number one seeding because
undefeated takes number one. Yeah.
Yes.
If they go undefeated, they take number one. That should be obvious.
Yes, because Clemson has drove the struggle bus a couple times this year, and Alabama has not. And so they're going to take number one. Ohio State has blown out all of their opponents in great fashion, and they have a generational talent at quarterback, Justin Fields, probably the next Cam Newton. And yeah, they probably take number two because of Clemson's struggles, you know, and you could say that this may be some nepotism coming into play if they put Clemson at number two, and I would have to agree with that. If they put Clemson in at number two, let's say it ended right now, and they still put Clemson in over Ohio State at number two, then that's definitely nepotism. You know, that's definitely because of their past performances. But Ohio State has been to the playoffs since the incarnation of the playoff system. They've been blown out twice, I think, by a high score, and they put up 0 points both times. Now, was their last championship right after the playoff came into play, or was it right before? I guess that's irrelevant right now. I think Ohio State goes number two, Clemson number three, and if Oklahoma does not lose any of their games, they're going to be number 4 again.
All right, and then what's the national championship game?
Ohio State and Alabama.
Ohio State and Alabama. That's what you want to see.
Yes.
I personally like to see Clemson, Bama, the third. Just get some revenge in there.
Man, I'm over it.
I know, but I want to see it again because I want to see Alabama get that win back. Can't have it. I really do want Tua to go into the NFL with having another win there. Mm-hmm. And actually a Heisman too, which it would be crazy if imagine he walked out of college without having ever won a Heisman.
Yeah, well, mm-hmm.
I like Tua. That's crazy, but
yeah,
it feels
possible.
like at this point it also feels like every other week we're talking about a new quarterback generational talent. I mean, college football is so stacked with quarterbacks right now. It is crazy.
It's amazing, yeah, and they're just feeding them into the NFL.
One of those, every single one of those top teams, except for Oklahoma, with a pro-ready generational quarterback. It's crazy. So we're gonna hit that point in the NFL soon. Couple of years where every team has a valid starting quarterback. Mm-hmm. And that's gonna be an exciting time.
If you look through the top 10, most of these teams have NFL-ready quarterbacks at this point. I'd have to bring up the rankings right now, but Notre Dame has a great quarterback that's probably going to be a serviceable backup, if not a starter somewhere. You know, Jake Fromm, probably a serviceable backup, if not a starter somewhere.
And you got the home run. I mean, you got the home run hitters. You got Tua, Trevor Lawrence, future first-round picks.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's looking.
You got
looking very bright future there. So
the next Peyton Manning over there, man.
Is Trevor Lawrence?
Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning. I think
he does have the forehead to be Peyton Manning.
The kid doesn't know how to lose. You know, he won 41 straight victories in high school when he took over that team. Has yet to lose a college game.
Crazy.
So the kid doesn't know how to lose. I mean, we don't know how
he's gonna lose one. He's gonna lose one. He's gonna lose one this year. He's gonna lose one this season.
I see that coming.
It's a national championship game, but I don't think they're beating Alabama right now.
Mm-hmm. But you know, if they put them in according to my seeding, that would give them the chance to play out the Jalen Hurts versus Tua a scenario in the first round rather than making it in the final round. And
I mean, Jalen Hurts isn't gonna make the championship game, and Tua is.
No, I don't think so. I think they get.
So it would have to be the first round. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want that to happen. I do want to see that. I think Alabama, Ohio State to me is the least exciting of those three possibilities. So I want to see Oklahoma first and then Clemson in the final.
Yeah, well, I mean, just based on my personal preference and fandom, I would hate that matchup. But as of right now, being unbiased, those are the two best teams. I mean, if you can't count LSU,
don't count out LSU.
Yeah.
Speaking about generational quarterbacks, you got a Heisman candidate right there too.
Joe Burrow.
It's a close race.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and and no one knew he had that in him because last year that was not the same Joe Burrow we saw last year. No. This year they have their new OC that they picked up from inside the Saints organization. Brought him up to Baton Rouge, and that kid taught Joe Burrow how to be a Heisman candidate. And
absolutely, a pivotal game coming up. That game against Alabama, you win it, you're in it, you keep in it, you play down to the wire, you're close, you have a good shot still with one loss. But I think LSU wins this game. We're guaranteed to see both Alabama and LSU in the playoff, which in itself will also be interesting. So it's gonna be close ones. Still, there's teams on the outside looking in a little bit, undefeated teams still that I just don't think are going to have a shot. I don't think we're going to see Jim Harbaugh, even though I would like it, just for the storylines, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, they have to get past Ohio State.
They do. And haven't done that yet. They haven't done it so far. So.
Never. Jim Harbaugh hasn't done it in his entire.
He's done it. He doesn't have the signature win.
Yeah,
does not have it, and he's getting paid a lot of money. So, at some point, it's gonna happen. At some point,
it's gonna have to
wait and see. But let's to end this up. Let's switch sports real quick because it's getting to the important phase of the year in the MLB, and we're not that far removed from the World Series, so we have to look back at our pre-predictions and give updated ones, because for me at least, my prediction is out the window, and thanks Clayton Kershaw for that one. Dodgers are out. I did pick the Dodgers. That was a rough one. Listen, it takes a lot to make me feel pity for an LA sports team, but the past couple of years, man, how do you go away from that without winning a single World Series? It's unbelievable to me. So Dodgers are out of it with that loss. And the Nationals seem to be cruising into the World Series. As of this recording right now, it doesn't seem to be a challenge against the Cardinals. Looking at the Astros and Yankees, though, it's a bit of a closer match. So how are you looking at this scenario?
I think the Astros are going to take this. As a matter of fact,
you think or you hope?
Oh, I hope. That actually was my pick earlier in the season, that it would be the Astros and the Dodgers, which obviously. Actually, I need to check the updated scores as of right now. Have you looked at the scores?
Not tonight, no. You can do that. You can do that right now, but
talk for a second and I will look.
Yeah, this podcast is recorded a couple of days before it's released, or at least a day before release, so you're gonna know the results of the games, whatever's currently going on. So we are recording this on Tuesday night.
4-1 versus the Yankees right now. They're leading.
4-1, so looks like they're gonna win that. Maybe. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, you could. Apparently, you could score 28 points in a baseball game.
Yeah. And apparently, a team can line up against the Braves and do a conga line around the bases. But
Atlanta. There was another sports event where Atlanta was on the good side of 28-3, but this one definitely wasn't it.
Yeah, thanks for bringing up that. No. We couldn't have had a podcast without that coming up, huh?
Nope. That was too good. Would have been cool though if the Braves came back from that, won it by 34.
Yeah, it would have.
Doesn't happen in baseball, but basketball scores in that game. So that was a pretty clear message. And the Cardinals still though seem to get blown out. So how real are the Nationals?
Well, you don't want to. I mean, I guess they're serious. I mean, I don't think they're going to beat the Astros if the Astros are the ones that make it. Because the Nats were a wild card team. You know, they got dominated this season by the Braves. The Braves just, God, this state, man. What am I doing here? The Braves gave up. That's all I can say about it. You know, they just gave up. They gave up on the rest of the season, and everybody thought, well, this is fine. They're just saving themselves for the playoffs. We're gonna have a good run through the playoffs. But no, turns out we suck for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw by the way, like that night, that game, I saw a tweet from Colin Cowherd, and he was like, I can't watch TV right now, but I got all sorts of money on the Braves, and how is it looking? And then they were down like 10-0 by then. It's like second inning.
Yeah.
That was a great moment.
Yeah, and mustered up one run. Jesus, man, it's depressing. Athletics in this state is depressing right now. Hey, Georgia State won. We got something to celebrate.
Atlanta FC won the MLS Cup.
Yeah.
There's good
news. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
And the Braves might still be good next year. We'll see.
Yeah, they might be. And then the Falcons could be good next year.
Falcons could be good if they bring up a defense, yeah.
Bulldogs might win a national championship next year. But as of right now, things...
Yeah, Tua's gone. That's true.
Yeah. As of right now, I mean, we've... Actually, I don't know if... I know we're on baseball right now, but I don't know if Fromm should stay or not. We may be better off just going ahead and transitioning to a mobile quarterback. But let's get back on baseball here.
All right, with all the talk you've been given, I'm actually going to say the exact same thing, but I wanted it to be more controversial, but it's really not. I'm going to say the Astros are also going to win. They're going to end up beating the Yankees, and they're going to end up winning the World Series. Mm-hmm. Would be a fantastic story though if the Nats pulled it off. I can't deny that. I also would like to see Nationals Yankees, but then again, I would not like to see the Yankees. To me, Dodgers Astros would have been the best possible outcome in terms of excitement. That did not happen that way, and Houston's gonna take it. To me, they're gonna make it happen. They seem to be they seem like the most talented team.
Yeah, I agree with that, and they've been dominant this entire season. Halfway through the season, I think I was the only one standing on that soapbox screaming that Astros were going to take this, but sometimes people come around. But if the Nats did win, like how often do we see a wild card team win the World Series?
We don't see that a lot in any sport, but in baseball.
Yeah,
exactly. That is rare. That is really rare because usually in baseball you got like before the preseason, before the playoffs even start, you have those 2-3 teams you're looking at that those are kind of duking it out, and it would be a cool story. It would be a cool story for sure. If we're getting down to Nats Astros, which I think seems most likely. I don't think I'm going to be rooting for anyone. It's going to be one of those where I'm just going to watch it and just enjoy as a neutral supporter of the sport, but I'm not going to be rooting for anyone. Giants not competitive. No team to actively hate on either.
The hell with the
It would have been a tough time if we got like Yankees, Dodgers. Would have been a tough time for me.
Yeah, I hate the Yankees and only the Nationals because they're in division rivals. Nothing other than that. So yeah, I would be pulling for the Astros to win this.
Rami, what was my pick? What was my pick to be the matchup? It was Dodgers against someone, but I don't remember.
Definitely wasn't the Nationals.
No, it wasn't. No, for the World Series. I mean,
what was it? The Rays? No. Hold on, that's the other.
Might have been. It might have been the Yankees.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna have to go back and look.
That's right. That's right. You didn't pick the Astros. I just realized that.
No, I picked the Dodgers to win it all. But I'm trying to remember who I picked to play against them.
You didn't pick the Red Sox, right?
I don't know. I might have picked them. Picked the Dodgers to win it all, but I might have. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to go back.
That didn't go anywhere either. Which I'm glad about, by the way. That they're not missed.
Yeah, not at all.
I'm totally cool with that. But yeah,
Boston has enough wins
in everything.
Yeah, in everything.
Don't need to be baseball the time.
The entire sports world could do without Boston for quite a while.
I would tend to agree with that. Yes. But that's at least we're not having to put up with the Sox. You might not even have to put up with the Yankees anymore after that season, after that series. So it's going to be at least an enjoyable, if not the most dramatic World Series. And Astros, I'm going with them. City Houston, looking pretty good. Texans are on upswing. Rockies not so much, but the Texans and the Astros are looking good.
Must be nice, man. Wonder what that feels like.
Well, Atlanta FC. When it's Houston,
I'm gonna have to get into soccer just to feel like a winner somehow.
You got to pick the best sport, whatever your city's play. Listen, this is a true story, by the way. Why I start watching basketball? Niners were bad for 2 years in a row. I gotta find something else to also watch. To watch during the summer. So yeah, go Warriors, I guess. And now that the Warriors are maybe out of the highest elite, now the Niners at least are back. So you always gotta have something. So yeah, if you've got to expand to soccer, that's what you have to do.
I guess so, man.
Maybe find some local high school football team was doing pretty good.
Yeah. The the Grayson Cardinals or whoever. That's like the big team that a lot of our probably the biggest school that puts players into the NFL from Georgia.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that there's a high rate of NFL players from Georgia, actually, the state of Georgia.
Oh yeah, definitely in college. I mean, Deshaun Watson's from Atlanta.
Right.
Cam Newton.
So that's something you got something to hang out on.
Justin Fields, Jake Fromm. I wanted to say Matt Stafford, but he actually he didn't grow up in Georgia. He just played for Georgia. But there's
something. I mean, you always have something to brag about.
Big quarterback state, yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So that's at least that. But I think we're going to close. It's been a long podcast, hour 20 already. Yes. We don't want to take it too far. But good week coming up in the NFL. And it's getting close to World Series time. It's definitely going to be interesting. We're going to probably talk about that again really quickly, at least touch on it next week, because we're getting into the hot phase. And we're going to get back to college football as well at some point down the line when we're getting close to the decision time.
Oh yeah.
Right now, I think we've said everything. Our predictions stand. My predictions stand. I think Oklahoma is going to slip in because of the entertainment factor.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think they're a top 4 team quality wise. But thank you everybody for watching this episode of the Scoreboard. Let us know what predictions you agree with or disagree with in the comments of this video, NFL wise at least. And no bets today, I think, because I'm not putting anything on the Redskins. So we're going without bets. We're going without bets this week. I'm not doing that. I might when the Niners play Kyle Allen. I might bet on the Panthers and Kyle Allen.
Yeah,
we'll see. That's going to be a tough test, by the way, but that's going to be
interesting
too. Yeah. So thank you for watching. Drop a like on the video too. If you are from Beyond Football, go check out the Trash Talkers channel. You can find the link to that on my channel page. And if you're on their channel, coming over to Beyond Football and check out some of the stuff that I am doing over here. And until next week, drop a like I said, and we're going to see you in the next one. Smokey, do you have anything to add?
No. Life sucks. That's it.
the life of an Atlanta sports fan.
Exactly.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya. Deuces.